astonishing season in which the standard at the very top has been extraordinarily high.
And a mouth-watering prospect between two clubs hoping to book their seat at football's top table again. Daniel Farker back at his former club.
The Canaries have started as they mean to go on this season.
Rowe!
Times extremely slick, at times it needed to be gritty.
Looking through the crowd, and in! And it's frustration for Daniel Farker.
Twisting and turning,
And it's in! A glorious goal! The turnaround is complete! Norwich City have won one of the most significant East Anglian derbies in history.
Summerall! 3 vital points.
Gabriel Sara!
Well, it's been that good, we just don't want it to end, but these are your final games of this season's championship. Norwich Leeds very shortly, after that West Brom against Southampton, the reverse of those. May the 16th, Leeds against Norwich, then we're down at St Mary's for Southampton, West Brom on May the 17th, with the final itself, Sunday, May the 26th, 3 p.m. at Wembley. All of that, of course, is on Sky Sports Football. We've got Troy, we've got Luke, we've got Billy, and now we've got Joby McAnuff. You've made your way all the back up here, so we might as well make the good use of you before you go out, Joby. The key thing potentially for Norwich City, unbeaten in the last 15 at home, have they got to make that count today ahead of the game at Ellen Road?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they have to win the game today. I think with their record here recently, I think we've spoken about Josh Sargent, him in particular, been scoring for fun here. I just feel they need to have something when they go back to Ellen Road, and I just think that the atmosphere here, there is an expectation. Listen, we've been lucky, we've been involved in these games as players. It's like nothing else. It really is about making sure you start this first leg really well, put yourself in a good position and start, I suppose, causing a few more of those doubts that there are around Leeds United at the moment.
Got a nice mix of current and former players here sat in the studio, but Tom, this moment, these minutes before you walk out, what the nerves like in the tunnel, given how big the game is?
Oh, the excitement's incredible. I'm sat here today, I just said to Troy and Billy, how good is this?
Yeah.
You know, look at the Leeds fans, they've forgotten about the league now. You can hear them, they're fully focused on this playoff game, and hopefully the players are as well.
So we've had 46 games, of course, of the regular season. That's now done, and out to the road to the biggest domestic game in world football. Starts right here at Carrow Road for Norwich City against Leeds United. Your commentary team, Don Goodman, and good afternoon, Daniel Mann.
Well, thank you, David. What a prospect. Buckle up. If you're uncommitted, you might just be able to enjoy the ride. But tension and emotion will abound. Well, they asked for Carrow Road to be a sea of yellow, and the Norwegian public have obliged. Will Ferrell may have invested in Leeds, but here in Norwich there is talk of a Hollywood ending from the bottom third of the division in the autumn, with a coach feeling unloved and unwanted, and he remains so in some quarters, let's be honest, and a group of players falling well short of their potential. They're now within reach of the Premier League pot of gold. Well, David Wagner's team are closer to full strength. Norwich welcome shining star John Rowe back to their starting lineup for the first time since a January defeat against today's opposition. No longer hamstrung, his ravenous appetite for goals will certainly sharpen up an attack that looked pretty blunt at Birmingham last week. Dimi Yanalis has recovered from a similar injury, and the left-back hasn't started a game in over 2 months. Given his contract situation, it could well be his last at Carrow Road. Shane Duffy plays, having been charged with drink driving this week. The Leeds' most experienced frontman, Patrick Bamford, will play no part in the semi-final due to a knee problem that is worse than initially thought. And selections of great intrigue in attack and midfield. Joel Piroux, often peripheral in big games, is benched. It seems Jorginho Rutter will operate as the 9. And given Southampton seemed capable of driving a bus through the middle of their team at will last week, they've added an extra midfielder with the outstanding Archie Gray returning. Fit again, Dan James is among the substitutes. Well, there have been defensive questions of Leeds of late, and today they face arguably the best striker in the business at this level.
Well, look, there's no quite doubt about it. I mean, despite injury problems, he's having the season of his life. 16 goals in just 26 starts is very, very impressive. And it's his movement more than anything that gives him these opportunities. And obviously Leeds United, they are going to have to try and keep him quiet.
Well, this man in the Leeds goal gets sufficient protection today.
Well, look, after last season, which was horrible in the extreme, despite the odd mistake this season, he's largely been solid. 18 clean sheets. Again, he will expect to have involvement in this game. Norwich is the home side. The onus is probably more on them this afternoon to go and win it. If he's asked to do the business, Leeds need him to.
Well, both familiar with one another, similar paths. David Wagner has enjoyed playoff success. Daniel Farke was very warmly received and fulsomely applauded on his previous visit when Leeds did turn around a 2-goal deficit to record a victory. But today, he says, is business as usual. And you can point to the history. Leeds have beaten Norwich twice this season, but then 5 years ago they've beaten Derby twice in the regular season. And David Wagner will tell you, Huddersfield lost twice to Sheffield Wednesday in 2017, but they overcame them in the semi-final when it truly mattered. Remember, former noted name in these parts, John Bond, saying the only important history is the history you make today.
Absolutely spot on, John Bond.
Archie Gray getting involved in that significantly more advanced area. How quite the midfield is going to shape up today was something of a mystery to us before the game, but certainly Gray very advanced indeed.
Well, first scare of the afternoon Leeds United's defenders have just had, because Josh Sargent, clever movement, but for a poor ball, possible opportunity for him.
Gray is going to play as a genuine number 10. We'll see how it works out. Let's have a more attacking pass than his deployment in the first team so far would necessarily suggest.
Well, it very much looks that way, doesn't it? Archie Gray is furthest midfielder forward, and he is in that number 10 role.
On the ball, a battle with the ever-reliable Kenny McLean, the player of the year here at Carrow Road. It'll be picked up by Borja Sainz. He's on the ball. A successful piece of defending from Sam Byram, although at the expense of a corner. Daniel Farke, not the only former Norwich man wearing Leeds colours today.
No, will be tested by Borja Sainz. Leeds, you imagine, will be tested by set pieces, because Norwich very, very strong in that area.
And it's the former Leeds man plotting their downfall, Andy Hughes, who is very much in charge of this area of operation for Norwich, and as you can see, has done a magnificent job. It's hooked on and hooked away by Willie Gnonto. Somerville chasing. Sainz able to retrieve it and get Norwich on the move again. Rowe. It's going to be an interesting test for Junior Firpo, although he does bob and weave a bit, Rowe.
I expect all the defenders out there are going to be tested, because the calibre of forward player extremely high for this level.
Jack Stacey, taking the throw at the moment, said a very interesting thing before the game. He was saying it's not necessarily a game where you can strategize too much, because it is likely to be all about a stroke of individual genius. Although Marcelino Nunez has produced better with his stronger foot in that kind of area.
Well, it's a good start. It's a fast start from the home team, pushing Leeds back. It is what Daniel Farke, I'm pretty sure, would have expected.
It's maybe not that kind of tussle with the likes of Gibson and Duffy today that he's going to win. There are certainly areas he can exploit. Maybe not a role that's naturally to his taste. He's played it pretty regularly.
It's an area that Leeds United have missed Patrick Bamford. Completely different to anybody else in the building in terms of his ability to receive the ball to feet, hold it up, bring others into play and allow movement off the ball. Peru and Rutter, not that type of a player.
It's way ahead in terms of experience. Here's Marcelino Nunez. It'll suit him to be a little deeper today. Set a very high standard in there alongside Kenny McLean. Yannis well forward here. Oh, and he might be gifted an opportunity.
Brilliant anticipation. He knew exactly what Sam Byron's intention was, didn't he, Giannoulis? Byron got just enough on the header.
Gruev out to Gnonto. Interesting pullback, and Rutter could not make the contact, and a real opening there.
Yeah, it's the epitome of a swing and a miss, isn't it? Unfortunately for Leeds, it's brilliant from Gnonto. He's really not closed down. Look at this. He's allowed the freedom to get his head up and just pick the pass, and Rutter, he really should be doing better. He's not under pressure at all, really.
Try here again, though. Rutter. Yannis seeing the danger away. Gnonto's unhappy with the nature of the challenge from Sainz, who is not in his most comfortable territory.
He clearly gets the ball as he lunges there. Oh, does he? Maybe I'm wrong, actually. I'm wrong, he doesn't get the ball. And I understand why the referee thinks he does, because I thought he did. Is that inside the area anyway? Either way, it's a borderline one, isn't it?
Josh Smith presiding today.
I think Josh Smith thinks Sainz gets the ball. I did.
Well, still just one look in the playoffs. It'll be different when it comes to the finals across the divisions. This is Gruev. And Byron. Bruised. Of their best form after the March international break. Instead of the pleasure of automatic promotion, it is the purgatory of the playoffs. Historically, the pain of the playoffs, from Peter Shirtliff to Jack Marriott, still haunted by spectres of the past.
Well, look, from personal experience, it is without doubt the best way to get promoted. But if you fail, there isn't a worse feeling in football, really.
Byron going on to move on to it close to the byline. Rutter hasn't arrived at him on his stronger foot as yet. Showing great willingness to do the ugly side and put pressure on Shane Duffy, who's delightfully drifted it to Stacey, who can muster a considerable attacking threat of his own. into repair. This is Nunez. The good work from Duffy. So it can be Sarah who drifted out to that right side position. It gives Norwich a lot of fluidity, having the combination of Sarah and Rowe.
Big decision from referee Josh Smith to make. There's no question it is a foul, because Sainz, he doesn't get the ball, does get a hold and pull Nonto down. A major part of the contact is outside the penalty area. I just wonder if that's a little sign of nerves from the goalkeeper.
It's going to be there somewhere. Sometimes it can come from an unexpected quarter in a match of this magnitude. Gray doing an important defensive job, because at various points he's latched on to McLean and Nunez to make it difficult for Norwich to play into midfield.
There's no doubt about it, he is playing further forward, and as that number 10. Definitely help Leeds when they haven't got the ball. There's no doubt about that.
Rodon towards Gray. That's Yanulis. Sargent hoping to get there first. Sprawling Rodon deals with it and potentially has set Leeds in positive motion here. It's Kamara with Junior Firpo outside it. Somerville. Immediately a yellow wall in front of it. In from Rowe, and Somerville getting away, but play brought back for the Rowe challenge.
Yeah, the flag went up for offside, but the referee, interestingly, has deemed that a foul, and that's the reason why.
It's the other end of the pitch where Rowe does his best work. Historically, Daniel Farker teams not carried an enormous threat from set pieces, as they will be keenly aware around here. Somerville and Gruev are poised over this one. That's Stacey.
Settled down a bit the game, hasn't it? First 3-4 minutes, Norwich right on the front foot, right in Leeds United's faces, but it's just calmed down a little for now.
Rodon at the near post, and he almost got there, and really drilled in by Gnonto. And now a lightning break on the cards. Yanulis, Rowe looking to get up there. And it wouldn't quite run for Sainz.
Well, Norwich, one of the best counter-attacking teams in the division. That opportunity showed great athleticism. Fair play to Leeds United, because they got back in their numbers. Rowe losing out. A chance to play it in early towards
Josh Sargent, Nunez. He wields his right foot, then really good things tend to happen. He's a devotee of David Beckham, great inspiration to him as a young player, as you can see from some of the stunning free kicks he's produced in his time. This is Giannoulis. The bolt at the back might be a little more secure with him in the team, but he also offers potential on the rampage going the other way, as does Stacey. That could be very useful! And Sargent came under pressure.
Ah, it's brilliant movement. Pass the ball between the lines. John Rowe makes the offer. The ball's played out. It's a lovely stand-up by Jack Stacey. And you know, Josh Sargent is good in the air, but I think he's just put off a little bit by the jumper Joe Rodon in front of him.
So Byron was arriving to try and make some form of contact. And there's a risky element sticking your arm out in the box, I suppose, and this certainly right up there with the word risky. In fact, you could use less charitable words for it.
Yeah, it's been a nervy start by him, hasn't it? Hasn't looked confident, really, or decisive. And really, you've got to assess not just you're passing the ball to a player, but what has that player got on when he receives your pass? And the answer was not a lot.
Yes, Gruev uttered something like, "Thank you very much." Well, we're in the territory I've talked of. Nunez and Sarra plotting.
Well, two of the best, aren't they, then?
We've got the left foot of Sarra, the right foot of Nunez.
I don't see a coin there, do you?
I wonder if someone's been keeping a log.
Yeah.
Whose turn is it?
Well, I'd be happy if I were of a Norwich persuasion for either of those two to take it.
Noteworthy uncertainty from Leeds in that area of the field. It's loose from Norwich this time, and Gnonto able to seize on it, but Giannoulis springing calm. Sainz. Between both Byram and Gruev, who's looking to He's had a really, really good season. He's maybe been overshadowed by others, but that shouldn't detract from what has been an excellent first campaign in English football. So the stage is clear for the Chilean. Giannoulis picking up an interesting position here, and that's the route they'll take and keep the pressure on.
Yeah, I think John Rowe was supposed to block the Leeds United defender to stop him to get out there. Look, but he's wrestling with him, but he doesn't stop the defender getting out, and that just puts Giannoulis under a little bit of pressure to take this cross early.
It was Archie Gray who was able to make it a little less straightforward for the Greek. There's so much work on set plays, so many different variations. Nunez hiding a bit, might find some space. Soon found the possibility to get a run on it, but Rodon met it. And Ruter. He's plunged Leeds back into potential trouble.
It's unnecessary. Clear your lines. I mean, that's what the problem is, having a player like him back there in that area, trying to dribble past an opponent.
I don't remember you doing that too often.
Definitely not, no.
See.
Rosette was called into play many times.
Worldly wise. Signs lurking on the edge of the area. McLean has pulled right to the back. Oh, and Sarah was not that far away from getting the flick. Good spell this for Norwich.
Yeah, it's a stream of set pieces, isn't it? Leeds United are having to defend. I do think the first port of call for Daniel Farke and Leeds United when they came here was to try and be solid, because they've gone from being the most solid to one of the most porous. You know, 15 goals in the last 8 games. Way too many.
1 clean sheet in 8, to throw another stat at you, though they are the best in terms of clean sheets in the Championship this season. Somerville really slowed it down. Yanalis was in a different mood. McLean. Nunez. For Junior Firpo. No great harm for Norwich, who have also had 1 or 2 less notable but not terribly solid moments playing out. He'll be hoping to don that Wembley suit again. This is his usual pitch-side attire, but when he got there with Huddersfield, he took on an altogether more dapper look. This is Rowe. Sargent. Nunez, weaker foot.
Yeah, but well worked, really well worked. It's a good carry from Johnny Rowe to get the ball up there. Find the space for Nunez. You can tell it's his weaker foot, can't you?
He's been a really consistent performer in his better position, which is deeper. He played as a number 10 effectively at Birmingham.
Well, then there's another instance of Ilan Melier has hit that way too hard and not given any of his teammates an opportunity to try and retain the ball better.
That'll be the occasion. I suppose from your point of view, it's the lesser of 2 evils, but
it's better than the ball he gave to Gruev, isn't it?
Here's Stacey. It's forward by Rodon. Was ahead of Kenny McLean. Sargent involved. Came off Rodon. Lively from Signs to get things moving quickly. Rowe. How about that for confidence? Deliver a ball across the face of goal with the outside of your boot. First start since January. Sarah forces a corner.
Well, he's not averse to using the outside of his boot, is he? As Hull City fans will testify to. But it's a quickly taken throw-in. Oh, those players, the forward players of Norwich, look really sharp and really on it. But here's the little flick. Beautiful into an area. No teammate anticipates it.
Offside, which will frustrate. Byram. Archie Gray.
It's not the kind of pass that Archie Gray would want.
It's not the situation Kenny McLean would necessarily want to be placed into, but he was fouled by Ruter. Foul that's got a legacy too. He's not moving too freely. Certainly hoping that this is a temporary inconvenience for Kenny McLean, who's been such an outstanding performer for Norwich this season, in a variety of positions as well, although he's very much where he wants to be today. Byram able to steam in, but McLean there to stop him. He's not someone who'll be dragged off easily. Kenny McLean, he started a match against Sunderland early this season when on the Thursday he was struggling to walk, and he didn't actually participate in training the day before. David Wagner saying it's the only time he's picked a player who couldn't do that for his starting team.
Well, that's how important he is, and he has been. Incredibly brilliant season. I'm not sure back in November anybody had Norwich City as part of the top 6 makeup.
Did just creep out before Stacey got there. But quite the effort. He's not had particularly happy experiences of the playoffs, Stacey. Hoping for third time lucky. Did have one great day at Wembley as a Tottenham fan, watching them win the League Cup back in 2008. Boggles the mind to think that he was only 12 when that happened.
Well, there are just signs that Norwich are getting a grip on this game. It's not very often that Leeds have less of the ball than an opponent. There has just been one shot on target, and that was the Gabriel Sara free kick, which was like catching practice. I think I might have dealt with that. So
I have no doubt about it.
Yeah, not a lot for either goalkeeper to do. That'll be the only thing that will disappoint David Wagner.
It's about taking advantage of their period in the ascendancy, because Leeds might have one now. Somerville with the initial challenge, and Nunez with a terrific one to halt Nonto in his tracks. And now Sargent.
Well, there's that movement, and it happened in the first minute of the game. And Leeds got away with it, and that was another close call. He just knows when they turn the ball over, he can get on his bike straight away, and he will be looked for. And it takes one good pass, and he could find himself in on goal.
Very much in a central position as this attack builds. Clear the way for the full-backs to provide width. Nonto way over on the left now. Somerville and Ruter more central. Here is Ruter. That hernia operation hasn't perhaps rediscovered the zip of previous weeks and months.
Just enjoying a little bit of possession, not going anywhere with it, but they don't have to. I think they just wanted to take the momentum away from Norwich, who were building it up quite nicely, actually. It's a sensible ploy by Leeds United here.
So combining with Junior Firpo, Ruter hoping to get there. Duffy does, but there's trouble here. The flag's up. So a moment of brief chaos in the Norwich ranks leads to no harm.
Well, leads to relief. I think relief is got to be the overriding emotion here. Brilliant one-touch passing movement, and this is what Leeds United bring to the table. I mean, it is an excellent spot from the assistant referee. He is just the wrong side there, but Duffy and Angus Gunn not to know that. They are very, very fortunate.
Well, the shimmering white of Leeds United's attire, Real Madrid inspired way back when. Helping a very borderline decision to be made. Ampadu, Junior Firpo, Kamara. And the question in Norwich minds, have we let Leeds off the hook somewhat? Good work by Gnonto. Well, the pass drifting over the head of Byron.
I was saying about Leeds United just taking the momentum away from Norwich, and the best way you can do that is to have the ball. And you can see there, in the last 5 minutes, flip the game in terms of possession on its head. It's largely that spell where they had the ball and went nowhere with it, but it did just stop that flow of Norwich City.
Yanalis to Sargent, and that's a cue for Stacey to make tracks. Beyond sights. The far post.
Do you know what's the right choice? Because Sainz is always ahead of Sam Byram. Look, trying to get in, he spots it. Stacey, and he just overhits the ball. Those are the little fine margins.
Head of Gibson. Yes. To apply some pressure to Ruter and tried to find a piece of skill to get him out of trouble and drew the foul in the end.
Well, he did. Didn't panic, did he? Didn't panic the last time when he gave the ball away, but it is great skill, but it is such a huge gamble.
Melier opting not to put Gruev in effectively the same spot of bother again. Rodon. That's Gibson's. It was on the wrong end of Norwich's last playoff success, part of the Middlesbrough team beaten at Wembley in 2015. There's one not too far from here that had all kinds of problems, but did eventually get up through the playoffs, and we've had a glorious season this year. Somerville's got through the challenge of Duffy, but lost his bearings a bit.
Just not really been able to get in this game yet. Needs to change for Leeds. Just little things like standing on the ball and knocking it out. Really uncharacteristic.
Well, certainly got into the game for Daniel Farke late on their last visit with two very memorable goals, and it did all happen in the last half hour for Leeds United in that league fixture. Saints. Challenge from Byron. The pass from Gray. Gnonto. Kamara making an overlap for him. McLean. Good work by Gruev, but will run for Sargent. He'll bring Stacey into it. Yanolis. Gnonto.
I just saw Joe Rodon sign to his teammates just to calm things down, slow things down. It's a hot day, you know. You just wonder, they're not been used to playing in weather like that this season.
Do genuinely have playoff weather. An occasion that generates enough heat on its own. But a glorious day. Very pleasant morning on the banks of the Wensum. Seeking to change it. Well, it's some important defensive contributions already, moving into a more central position. Junior Firpo to Archie Gray. He's talked about always retaining those principles and wanting to play attacking football, but we have seen elements of a more controlled performance. There's that spell at Middlesbrough in that thrilling match where they weren't quite as proactive as we've come to expect. There was a pragmatic touch which the lack of in his time here at Norwich in the Premier League cost him his job.
So it's a learning curve, even for the most experienced managers. You never stop learning.
Shunning, but certainly not placing great emphasis on set plays, was obviously one area where they could have made quick gains when they were up in the Premier League.
This is what they've done very well in the first half. Leeds just slowed things down a little bit. Quiets the crowd down, doesn't it, when you do that? Which is always a decent tactic.
Sarah making progress here for Norwich, although how much progress will be determined by Kamara and Firpo. And the fleet feet of Rowe has kept Norwich moving forward with a free kick.
As I say, this is a typical first-legged affair. It's all a bit tight, cagey, not laden with goals, and you can see by the expected goals there, not been hardly any chances in this game so far.
Typical of playoffs generally, but it's exacerbated at this level. Given can be life-changing for football clubs. Yanulis. Ben Gibson. Out of the shadows, into the sunlight, and Nunez. Sarah. Into Yanulis. Off McLean and Sainz. Saw no sign of a shooting position in by Nunez.
That's a clever run. It's just an overhit ball, and that typifies the first half. Some promising situations that haven't quite materialised.
It's all very nearly so far.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gray. Well, the first of two of the semi-finals today, following from the Hawthorns, West Bromwich Albion against Southampton, 2:15 kickoff. Southampton produced one of their best performances at the Hawthorns back in February. Kamara on Sarah.
He's saying he's sure. It looked like he went through the back there to get to the ball. So it is a foul. The referee in a really good position to spot.
Well, sparring rather than a slugfest so far. This is Nunez. McLean. Well, he's not necessarily a believer in momentum coming into the playoffs, and it's probably just as well for everybody.
Well, it is this year, yeah. I took the liberty of looking at the last 5 playoff winners. Believe it or not, they all had massive momentum. It's really unusual this season that 4 teams are coming in in such patchy form. There's at least one normally.
Kamara. Ethan Ampadu. A strong claim to be regarded as Leeds' most consistently excellent player this season. That's a free kick. Gnonto is going to be yellow carded for his reaction there to that decision.
Oh, frustrating half for him, hasn't it? Really just eases all this out of the way, but you can't react like that. You will see a yellow card. Frustrating half for him.
Gibson with a kick. It's ahead of Byram. Towards Sargent, who lost his footing at the crucial moment. Well, a half of nearlies at Carrow Road. Norwich with the greater number of spells of sustained pressure, but Willie Gnonto in the spotlight felt he had a good claim for a penalty after a challenge from Borja Sainz, although the incident certainly began outside the penalty area. He also had the ball in the net during a rare moment of distinct uncertainty at the back from Norwich, and he's also been yellow carded for his troubles. Pretty cagey stuff so far. Half-time, Norwich City 0, Leeds United 0.
Sky Sports just got even better, bringing you over 50% more sport this year with new live streams and a dedicated channel. Introducing Sky Sports Plus, launching this August at no extra cost. Watch your EFL team over 20 times a season live on Sky Sports. A couple of things potentially to clear up. There was a penalty shout for Leeds United. However, with the contacts being outside, lower body offences, it's the point of contact. Only if the upper body is pulled do we take into account if it carries on into the box. Does that mean then, Tom Lockyer, that that's not a pen?
Certainly a foul. I don't know if it's a penalty or not, but it's certainly a foul. I think I wouldn't like to say, but maybe 30 minutes into the game that gets given because it was so early. I'm not sure what the refs thinking.
I think if it's Ellen Road, it gets given. Yeah. Yeah. And obviously for the final, you'd have had VAR anyway. But I just think, like Tom says, the referee was a bit unsure, so he's obviously not give it. But initially, it looked like a foul and a penalty. But like you just explained about the rules.
Roll your eyes, Billy.
The rules as obviously it might have been a foul outside the box, but like Tom said, it was definitely a foul.
Second half about to get underway, Jobs. Your thoughts on what you've seen from Norwich so far?
Yeah, I've been fairly impressed with them. I feel like they've certainly tried to set the tempo of the game. Obviously haven't quite found that quality, but again, for me, I think this is a huge opportunity to get themselves an advantage going into that second game, and just a bit more in that final third. I can see them certainly opening the scoring today.
Another factor, of course, Troy, is something we've not been used to at all for the best part of 11 months, is this incredible weather.
Oh, it's lovely, isn't it? We've been getting our tan on out there watching this game. No, I think, yeah, the subs are going to play a big part. I think Leeds' bench is a little bit more stronger in the attacking sense, a bit more know-how as well in terms of what to get the job done. But for right now, Leeds need to step it up. They've been quite disappointed in that first half, and if they want to come away from here with a result, then the front player's got to be a lot better.
Okie no goals as yet as the teams make their way back onto the pitch. The Leeds fans, as ever, in full voice, but this place has been a cauldron so far. David Wagner's charges with the best chance in the first half. 0-0 though, second half on the way now. Don Goodman, Daniel Mann.
Thank you, David. Well, he knows that his team of late have been harder to beat than others around them. They've not been exactly racking up the points with the regularity that they would wish. Leeds have to harness the fact that it has been a terrific season. 90 points, better goal difference than Sunderland, who also achieved that in 98. Was crunching the numbers ahead of the final day. It's actually, in terms of, if you go back and adjust everything for 3 points for a win, the best performance in terms of points per game by a team not to get promoted from this division since Hull in 1910.
It's a lot of checking and fact-checking, that.
They got the equivalent these days of 2 points per game. And it would have been 76 from 38 games. Manchester United actually failed in successive seasons getting the equivalent of more than 2 points per game, even just a few years before, back in those distant Edwardian times.
It was an excellent campaign. I think the disappointing thing for Leeds is how it finished, with 4 defeats in the final 6 games. That is the period of the season that they'll reflect on if they don't get promoted. If they do win the playoffs, nobody cares. That was a tight, cagey first half, and I think there were ramifications in that. It's typical, particularly at this level, the prize is so great of a first leg of a 2-legged affair, tight and cagey, not giving things away. And Leeds had conceded 11 goals in the last 4 away games. They were never going to come here and open up. And Norwich, their record against the top 6, 1-2 of 10. So that was a reason for them not to really open things up. But I do think as the game goes on that Norwich will have to try and win this game. I would fear for them if they don't take an advantage away from this afternoon.
Yonto. Sainz felt that.
Well, Sainz felt he was getting a foul for that, but I think the whistle had already gone.
Yeah. Wasn't quite as heinous a crime as it might have initially been suggested.
He's just had an explanation that it wasn't him. Something previous to which he gave the referee a thumbs up.
Gray is chasing. It's McLean. Sargent didn't get the free kick he wanted. Junior Firpo. Now Somerville. Get Byram involved, but difficult to take in.
I spoke about him before the game and I highlighted his movement, and there's 2 examples of it. One came really, really early on. He spins in behind and Ampadu just grabs him a little bit, but the ball isn't good enough. And the second one, he gets himself between the 2 defenders and he's off. And again, a better ball and he's in. And I think Norwich City need to look for that as an outlet a little more often.
International break was key for him. A great period of rest. He managed to get 2 full 90s in over the Easter weekend, which is quite the feat when you're making your way back from injury. And that's really set him up for the sort of form we've always known has been in there. He played second fiddle to Teemu Pukki for some considerable time, often operated in a wide position, but signed to be a centre forward. Rowe. Oh, that's a very useful ball indeed for Sainz. And Byram able to react and snuff out the danger.
He just never got the ball under his spell, did he? Or Sainz in time, and Byram is at full tilt trying to recover, but it's bouncing and he never really gets it under control. And Byram, credit to him, times the challenge to perfection. Brilliant from the fullback.
Familiar territory. Over Sargent said Junior Firpo's able to react as well. header. And very kindly for Archie Gray, and Leeds with the opportunity to build through Gruev. Kamara. Julio Firpo. Been very good today. Leeds at periods dictating a less frenetic tempo as Mellier's woes strike again.
And this is the thing, if you're Norwich City and you see that, and you've seen it from early, then how much pressure can you put him under? Clearly nerves are affecting the goalkeeper of Leeds United.
Somerville caught after he'd released it. An advantage played here. On perhaps a couple of occasions from referee Josh Smith. It's return. Gray's in there. Stacey deals with it. And Carter from pocket.
Yeah, he's looking for Ben Gibson. He's getting information. Oh, was it Duffy, was it?
It was Duffy with the one initially, yes, on Somerville.
OK. That's the way the officials work. It's the communication. Oh, that's the one, yeah. Duffy goes right through the back of him. You can't have any complaints about that. It's really good from the officials identifying that between them.
Back somewhat gingerly to his feet. Well, his dad saw pretty much everything in football, but he didn't experience the playoffs. Brian proudly looking on, no doubt.
I'm sure he'll be here. Begrudgingly not playing golf in this weather.
I imagine he's somewhere not too far below us, Don. The usual seat is in this particular stand where we're situated. This is McLean. Keeping up the family business. Angus Gunn. Well, they've caught Leeds out here completely. And Gabi Sara! Well, the analysts have just ghosted him behind that Leeds backline.
Well, he did it moments ago, but the ball never arrived, and it didn't put him off. Look, he went again. Just feeds the ball back, and it's just a fraction behind Gabriel Sara as he's wanting to take the strike. You'll see he's trying to adjust his body, and he just can't wrap that left boot around it, but it gets a round of applause from his manager.
Sara's had a fabulous season, but he didn't have any disagreement at all with the award of Player of the Year to Kenny McLean. Character as well as quality from Gabi Sara, and delivering numbers that will attract Premier League admirers. Giannoulis is the latest to go in the notebook, which starting to rack up the names.
Yeah, again, he comes down on top of Nonto's shin, doesn't he? As the ball's already gone, he ends up landing, so I can understand the referee. That's what he's seen.
Firpo again into return. Kamara. The Sunday afternoon stroll about it at the moment.
Yeah, both teams just feeling their way into this second half. It's the fear that comes with the playoffs, unfortunately. How you deal with the emotion of the occasion. I should imagine Leeds United, some of the players would have been in sessions with psychologists and everything this week, given how close they've gone, given the disappointment of the way that they ended the season. Every little marginal gain you can get, you need.
Somerville could be away here. Kamara. Somerville. Trademark territory, but plenty of yellow shirts there too. Firpo. Deflection kept Angus Gunn honest.
That's about as much work as he's had to do, isn't it, Angus Gunn in the City goal. They're patient, actually work it well. It is the deflection that makes it comfortable for Norwich.
Off Shane Duffy, who had an eventful afternoon in the regular season league fixture. Scored at both ends, at the same end. One goal in the first, 4-1 in the second against Norwich. Couldn't do a lot about it. Nonto driving inside, and they've got to be careful with their challenges. Falls to Kamara. Junior Firpo able to dig it out. Straight to Somerville. Fleet of foot. Gunn cutting off the angle.
Yeah, it's a poor clearance initially, isn't it? Comes back again, they work it well. Firpo becoming more involved. That header there from Duffy, one that presents Somerville the opportunity. The angle is always against Asensio. Somerville. And Angus Gunn deals with it as he should.
Changes a foot, but Norwich will hold fire until they deal with this. It's Gunn who does deal with it very effectively. Sainz has overrun it again, allowing Archie Gray to mop up for Leeds and find Kamara. Gray arriving to get involved again. Kamara. Oh, Byram. Well, it's not his natural habitat, and then he's conceded a foul.
Well, Norwich are asking, why is Sam Byron not seeing a yellow card for that? And I kind of get it, given that yellow cards have started to be given out. But that there, the layoff for Gray, wasn't as good as it should have been. And then it's an air shot, isn't it? Almost. From Byram, his eyes must have been lighting up. Gets it all wrong. But then it's the punch there from Gunn. And he does really well, Archie Gray. Stays composed and sets Leeds on the attack again. And from that, he carries his run. And just a layoff here to him. Could he not hit that first time? That was the only question I was asking myself. And it just fizzles out.
Well, the challenge from Byram was the last meaningful involvement for John Rowe, who has got to near enough the hour mark on what you must remember is his first start in Norwich colours since the tail end of January. And Christian Fastnacht will replace him in that right-sided role.
Well, there were glimpses, weren't there, in the first half of what Norwich City have missed without John Rowe.
Qualities that would have been missed by any team in the division this season. He scored 12 goals in his first 25 league starts this season. I mean, if he was a striker, you'd be raving about that.
Exceptional.
probably mission accomplished from his point of view. Reached the hour. Kicker's powder dry potentially for the second leg. Norwich have to make the most of this occasion, and Sargent looking to do so. Ampadu intervening to great effect.
Just not aware enough of what's around him there, Josh Sargent. So he's a little slow in recognising he's being closed down. He's never going to get all of that time. So they run the ball back here. It's intelligent there. He lets it run across his body, but he's always being closed out.
Wisdom to impart. He did reveal, and maybe because of that reason we might have expected the type of tweak he's produced in formation terms today, or personnel terms. Talking of strengthening their work against the ball, giving them a greater sense of solidity. That's been the football focus on the training ground.
You can't argue really that it has worked so far. Ball has signs. They catch him with the swing of the boot there, accidental. Just catches him on the head. Draws a little bit of claret maybe.
The old petroleum jelly deployed. Some things don't change in football.
Gone away from the magic sponge though, just about.
It's clinging on, isn't it?
Yeah.
All the advances of sports science and medicine. We even saw a rough, tough centre-half with double figures in terms of stitches in his head in the playoffs the other night with Richard Wood of Doncaster. Not ultimately another happy occasion for him in the playoffs. He's had plenty to look back on. Nunez. Fastnacht. Not suggestive that he's got his head in the game just yet. This is Sainz. Yanelis. Teased in there towards Sargent.
It's not a great ball in, is it? Promising situation again. Still nothing. Work it well, so there's space. I'm not really sure what he's expecting his teammates to be doing with that kind of a delivery. Almost a nothing ball.
Will receive a yellow card.
He's Words between Jack Stacey and Somerville. The referee looks like he's across it. As Fasnacht gets a yellow card, and rightly so, for the pullback. You can't get away with that. Just there, look. But it's what happens after between Stacey. He's not happy with that challenge by Somerville. And you can see
the pullback earning the Norwich substitute a yellow card. Together with David Wagner at Young Boys of Bern. His time there, we'll talk about his championship exploits. He managed a team to a Champions League victory over Manchester United back then. Offside flag up. Leeds fresh faces. Joel Peru and Jaden Anthony are preparing to make their entrance.
Signifies that strength in depth, doesn't it, that they have.
Well, it's the old adage, isn't it, these days, to compare the benches. Leeds significantly stronger. Roden with Sargent. Ruter ending up on the floor, away from the ball. He's involved now, and Somerville makes his move. Changes that Leeds make at this juncture will be nothing like the attacking zeal they made their changes here in the regular league fixture. And they ended up with Piru and Ruter playing in central midfield. Ampadu was in there too, we should add. They went to three at the back. A free kick, and it won't be quite far enough out for Nunez and Sarah not to have a think about it.
It's a bit naive. I think Sarah had lost the ball there, so if you're playing Kamara, just do not make contact with him. It's one of those, this one, isn't it? It is right on the edge, whether you shoot or whether you cross. I mean, if you're a goalkeeper, you'd be extremely disappointed to be beaten from that far out.
Goalkeeper was on our last live visit to Carrow Road from a free kick at the other end, not quite the same distance, but quite a lot of swaz on it, as we used to say. Nunez past Václav Hladký of Ipswich in the derby. The necessary swerve here. He is going to hit it. The deflection means Norwich is still in business.
Goes for that front foot technique that Cristiano Ronaldo perfected and introduced.
Try and find the valve. And it's a golden ball for the playoffs.
Still can't work it out.
Duffy going for a little walk. Gruev has his eyes on him. We'll draw a discreet veil over that. So Leeds are going to make their changes. Peru for Ruter and Anthony for Gnonto. Piru has got a case for being the coolest finisher at the club. respective positions they've taken up. It's ahead of Stacey. Junior Firpo, Kamara. Kamara. Something for Byram and Anthony. Junior Firpo arriving. And now Kamara. And again. Gone behind. Well, the first of a double bill of playoff semi-final action from the Championship today. West Brom against Southampton follows from the Hawthorns. Kick-off at 2:15. And you can catch up with the team news. West Bromwich Albion naming an unchanged side today. Is not in the Southampton starting lineup because of the calf injury that he suffered at Elland Road. Sakumara getting the nod. Anthony. And again. Sarah giving him nothing at all to work with.
He had half a yard earlier on in that moment to whip the ball in, but he recognised there were barely any Leeds players in the penalty area, so it's not strictly his fault that he didn't whip the ball in. That's what it feels like. It feels like this is a game where players are playing very safe, very, very safe. Not a lot of risk-taking.
Sort of becoming the Eddie Charltons of the Championship.
There'll be plenty out there that haven't got a clue what you're on about, but I do.
Great Australian snooker player, noted for not being quite as spectacular as Jimmy White or Alex Higgins. I mean, that might mean nothing to anybody.
I'm with you, mate. I'm with you.
When we were snooker loopy. This is Anthony. Ampadu.
Just get the feeling it's going to take a set piece or a piece of individual brilliance, or hopefully not a mistake. Something along those lines if we are going to have the deadlock broken.
Byram's cross over the head of Peru. Well, a mistake of magnitude in a playoff match can end up defining you, really. Wariness. Avoiding that is something that very easily takes over. Offside flag. Well, the analyst first. quality they want to come to the fore. The Norwich squad seeking to lower the average age of it. This is Somerville. Stacey and Somerville renewing acquaintance, and Somerville keeping hold of it here. And bringing Rodon into it. And now Gruev and Kamara. Junior Firpo. Junior's keeping his eyes on the ball.
He's been excellent, you know, he's done that a lot in this game.
He's got all the basics locked down, and then some very special qualities as well. So Leeds do have a set piece, and a foul by McCallum.
It's a little give and go, and McCallum blocks him. Here's a foul.
So Rodon's made the trip inside the box, and Purdue just outside. Tiru, inevitably. Junior Firpo in there. Also Byram. Byram in there.
It goes down as an attempt at goal. We haven't really had too many of them to talk about, to be fair. Tries to improvise.
The scorpion tail.
It's not the direction, the flow Norwich or the fans would want. Last 10 minutes, Leeds have just really controlled it in a sense without really causing Norwich too many problems of their own.
Different side. We don't readily associate with them or with Daniel Farke. Marks for style are not high on the agenda. You never know, there may be a flourish before we end here. Byram, Anthony, and it's Borja Sainz doing the defensive work diligently.
Yeah, really important that he stays disciplined. Sainz tracks the run. Good switch from Gruev. Anthony makes the offer. Stops the pullback. Sainz, good defending.
Boy from the Basque Country, part of Athletic Bilbao's youth setup. It's got a little less strict, their policy down the years, but it's like the old Yorkshire cricket. You have to be born in the Basque Country to, or have very close links indeed to it, to be at that football club. As a player, at least. Howard Kendall was there, we shouldn't forget. And a chap called Bielsa, who I think a few around here might have heard of.
Yeah, just a little bit. Hotbed for fantastic coaches.
And also where England had a very very good World Cup group stage way back in 1982. 3 wins out of 3. I'm sure the check from the tourist board is in the post. Matter will be decided on Thursday night at Ellen Road. Leeds United against Norwich City in the second leg of the semi-final.
suspect it will be a very different fare to this. It's usually when you get the drama, isn't it? Second leg of the playoffs.
Gray making a purposeful burst from central midfield there. Making the offer, and then it's up to others how proactive they want to be. Somerville, Gray. Duffy got to him, it came off Stacey in the end.
They look the most likely, don't they, Leeds United at this stage of proceedings, moving the ball nicely in that final third. Richie Gray. It's a decent enough strike.
Anthony has got room to shoot. Very straightforward indeed for Gunn.
Yeah, catching practice, isn't it, really?
Norwich getting ready to introduce a real name to conjure with from their bench. More shortly.
They just seem to have gone into their shell a little bit as an attacking force, and now Josh Sargent has gone down.
Into their shell, and him into a seated position. And this will be a source of concern for many, I'm sure, if not everybody.
Opportunity to take some fluids on board. It is a hot day.
So the change for Norwich is going to be the introduction of Sidney van Hooijdonk. Son of the great Dutch frontman Pierre. So it's the end of Sargent's afternoon, and they will certainly hope that this is firmly within the realms of precautionary. So Van Hooijdonk on. He does have playoff experience in the Netherlands, where they have such fixtures to decide the European places. It's pretty popular in the Low Countries, a playoff. They have one to decide the destiny of the title in Belgium.
What's not to love about playoffs? Unless it involves you.
Unless you lose.
Unless you lose, yeah. Great for the neutral.
Always. Right back from that very first year, when replays were still a factor, and Leeds ultimately lost out on promotion at neutral St Andrews against Charlton Athletic, who in that initial format preserved their top flight status with that victory. It was an unexpected bonus. There were highlights on the telly that night. How times have changed.
Just a little bit. Norwich really could do with a grandstand finish here. Haven't really offered very much at all in terms of a goal threat. Although it's been a nervy afternoon for Ilan Meslier in many respects, it's been a very comfortable one. At the same time, has not been worked. Leeds United's goalkeeper. And the shot that they had on target was that Gabriel Sara free kick in the 17th minute. They haven't had one on target since.
Byram involved again. Gray's in the box. Anthony making an angle. On Anthony goes, but Nunez eye on the ball again. Piroux chasing Sainz. That was Van Hooijdonk. Just a touch of looseness there. A couple of little moments like that in the first half from Norwich as well. Science has gone down there on the receiving end from Byram. Dan James available, cameo role in the first leg. Norwich have forced another free kick here. Kamara's challenge.
He just gets the wrong side. Gabriel Sara, and what the referee spots is the shirt pull. Plenty of them. I think it's safe to say that that is too far out for a shot.
Yeah, Gibson and Duffy simply there to discuss potential plans. Which page from the playbook are they going to use? It's an extensive one, in by Sara, and rode on all the time in the world.
Yeah, everything had to be perfect, and it wasn't really close.
So James on, the decisive figure in the regular league fixture, and the Championship's Player of the Year. Asensio Somerville replaced by Daniel James. Duffy. Gray. McCallum. Safely back by Ampadu. Signs of nerves today. Be interesting if and how he might be affected in the tingling atmosphere at Ellen Road on Thursday.
The nerves came with the ball at his feet, didn't they, really? Because he hasn't really had anything else to do. Let's have it right. Will Norwich go full high press at Ellen Road? I would highly doubt. So he's probably going to have an awful lot more time and not be under less pressure at Ellen Road than he was in the early exchanges. And that's when it all happened, when Norwich were really on the front foot in the faces of Leeds United. It fizzled out and it never reignited again, really.
Yeah, he's possibly been the best paid spectator in the second half. And there might be some competition for that here, I don't know. So the 90th minute. And he was no doubt extremely keen to secure an advantage to take to Ellen Road. It looks very much, although there is still time, that is rather unlikely to happen.
I was one of those that felt that they really needed to win this game.
Nunez and James together. James has come out the winner here. First time Nunez has lost a battle of that nature. Junior Firpo to drive it. Duffy hurling himself at it. McLean was there too. And it's been lost.
This is the first mistake that Nunez has made in the entire game. He has been absolutely
Battle, he's lost your player of the match, the Chilean Don.
Look, and surprisingly, not really for what he's done with the ball, but for what he's done without the ball, in terms of tracking players, tackling, blocking avenues for Leeds United. He's made it hard for them. We normally associate him with more creativity, but I think he's been brilliant.
Well, his dad did a good job in instilling all the basics defensively. He forced him to play centre-back as a youngster. Possibly wasn't that keen on, but it's definitely helped him.
Well, the object of the exercise when you start the playoff first leg is make sure you're in it in the second leg, and they've both achieved that no matter what happens in the last minutes of this game. I do suspect it is going to have to be a sort of a rear guard, backs to the wall action for Norwich City at Ellen Road. It's the type of game that Blackburn won, for instance. They're going to have to produce, I suspect, Norwich City.
Sarah rising to meet it. Followed by Byram.
It's just not a foul, and this is where the referee is... I don't know whether it's just a safe decision, really, because Leeds have given the ball away. He's cleared it. There's no contact. It's Byram's kick-through that catches Van Hooydonk. It's just not a foul.
Atmosphere all very pensive rather than fervent, which really sums it up. Leeds have the ball. Is there just going to be one moment where someone steps up, shows an ambitious streak? Firpo, Kamara, Anthony, Kamara again, Anthony. Julio Firpo through the legs of Stacey, and Piru can pick it up. Fastnack defended the situation, as does Sarah. Sainz robbed the possession. Gray trying to improvise, Piru trying to put himself about. Sarah steps in and has got a free kick.
I think you've put that perfectly. Has got a free kick, buys a free kick, call it anything you want.
There's a bit of difficulty for Duffy at the moment. Where after a duel in the sun, we are exactly where we started. Daniel Farke's team showing a hitherto rarely seen pragmatic streak. They controlled a lot of the game without showing great enormity of ambition. Norwich had some good spells in the first half, but if you were looking for a bevy of clear-cut goal-scoring chances, this was not the place to be today at Carrow Road. In effect now, at Ellen Road on Thursday night, we have a one-off cup tie to decide who will walk out at Wembley in the Championship play-off final. The final score at Carrow Road, Norwich City 0, Leeds United 0.
Fractious game then, and nothing to separate these two sides at the end of 94 minutes worth of action. Daniel Farke, of course, knows this place very well indeed, having taken Norwich City up automatically twice. However, they are trying to navigate themselves through the playoffs alongside Leeds United. And we've got a packed team of pundits here in the studio. Troy Deeney, Tom Lockyer, Billy Sharp and Joby McAnuff are with us. Joby, is it a missed opportunity for Norwich?
I feel so. I definitely think that Leeds were there today to really try and take advantage of their current form. I thought we saw that a little bit in their performance. Players lacking certainly a bit of quality and a bit of confidence, but I think overall they won't be too disappointed with it. I think it sets it up really nicely for the second leg, and a big opportunity for them, I think, to go and really take advantage of what might be a bit of an edgy Ellen Road for that second leg.
Do we take into account, Billy, the conditions? So I've gone on about how warm it is, but it's a 46-game season. They've got to go again. Is that why potentially the quality wasn't at its highest?
Yeah, obviously they're not used to it. I think someone said that before the game. The first 10 minutes was lively, and obviously the substitutions were trying to make the last 10 minutes lively, but yeah, it was cagey, and I think both teams in the end didn't really want to lose a goal rather than take the, by the scruff of the neck and try and get the advantage, but it's one leg over and back to Ellen Road.
When you've seen the game that we've watched today, Tom, and you look at obviously these wonderful scenes at the end, the Champion Leeds faithful, very noisy bunch of people, of course, and they've made themselves known throughout the course of the game. Who's it been a better game for you?
Leeds, without a shadow of a doubt. I think obviously Ashley Barnes missing, Josh Sargent's gone off. We don't know the extent of that at the minute, but it leaves them very short up front. And Daniel James only having 5 minutes at the end. I think that shows that Leeds were quite happy with the draw here. And now it's a one-game shootout at Ellen Road, which they've got to fancy themselves in.
Okay, we'll get the thoughts of Troy.
But obviously we wanted to take an advantage there. It's not the case, but we're still wearing the tie, and it's one to look forward to.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough task, but how do you see the challenge ahead now?
Yeah, we're not getting away from that. We know how good the team Leeds can be. They're at home, they'll fancy their chances, but we're a very good team as well.
Okay, well, brave effort today. If you wouldn't mind doing the honours, we've given you the Player of the Match trophy from Marcelino Nunes.
Thank you, cheers. Thank you.
Academy player doing his bit, of course, from a defensive point of view. Let's just remind ourselves where we stand of the course of this Championship playoff schedule. Norwich 0, Leeds 0. Very shortly we're going to be covering West Brom against Southampton and the return legs. Leeds against Norwich, of course, on Thursday, and then Southampton, West Brom at St Mary's on Friday night, with the final at Wembley Sunday, May the 26th. So we've got another game to look forward to, of course, at the Hawthorns. Plenty for my four guests here to talk about. Up next, though, it's West Brom taking on a team in fine form, getting themselves back to it, Southampton.